Hello, Professor Langsam. We are live.
How are you, Andre?
I am good. I asked you to forward the original email from Professor Grayson to me because I'd like to see that attachment.
He probably tried an hour ago to try to get onto it, but I will look for it. Hold on a minute.
If it was simply saying that the meeting is not on yet.
I didn't look at it. I did not look at it, but let me look for it on my email list. Professor Grayson. Yes, here it is. Forward. Andre. Okay, it's on your way. It's on the way to you. Andre, can you let people in as they come in? I have to step away for a moment or two. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Langston, I will start letting them in, but you have to make me a co-host.
You are.
I am not, because I transferred, since I started the meeting, I transferred I transferred the host privileges back to you, and that effectively took the privileges from me.
Okay.
So just right click me.
Now co-host.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'll be back in a few.
Okay, just to let you know, we are streaming live on YouTube, but we are not recording yet. I will wait for your direction to start recording when everyone is ready. And I'm going to mute myself for now because I'm going to give Professor Grayson a call.
Fine, and I'm launching the poll for those who are on. You guys can all take attendance. So
okay.
it's
Hi, everybody.
Yedidia, can you hear me by any chance?
I can hear you fine.
Great.
Okay,
Thanks.
but go ahead and mute yourself until it's time to present.
Okay.
Okay, everyone should be muting. Everyone should be muting. You know, although we call officially the meeting for 3:15, it'll be a bit, probably about 10 minutes before we actually start as we wait for the quorum to arrive. So just hang out for a while.
I am here.
We know you're here. We see you.
I'm just appearances are sometimes deceiving, but in this case, they're not.
Okay. Make sure you put your vote on the attendance poll so we know you're here.
I did that.
Everybody should be voting.
So, how are you doing living the dream?
Thank you, Yehuda. Let's not get us started on this conversation now. You have too much time on your hand.
Way too much. Way too much. Hi, Sharona.
Hey, there's a mistake on the Committee on Committees, one
You will fix it.
document that Kathy sent. So I don't know if you want me to share or I can send it to you, the corrected.
Why don't you send it to me quickly, see if I get it. If not, I'll make you a co-host at the time.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to send it now. Draft of SF. Save as. Okay. $14. Okay.
Mona, did you send it?
Yes, I just sent it to you.
Well, I hope it gets here in time.
Sorry.
Okay, Martha, as secretary, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to start the meeting now.
Okay.
Everybody, please mute yourself for those who have to talk. Okay, you're all muted.
And
are
we are
we-
now recording and streaming.
Thank you. So we're recording and streaming. Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to call the October 20th meeting of Faculty Council to order. I'm sorry to say that once again, we are on Zoom and not having a live meeting. I would certainly encourage everyone not to be shy and to turn on your cameras. It's nice to see colleagues alive and moving. But of course, like with our students, we certainly can't impose that upon you, but it would help, I think, everyone to reduce a little bit amount of stress. There is a poll up now, which is the way we're taking attendance. Everybody who's present should be voting because everyone here is either a faculty member or a faculty council or a member of the of the administration takes attendance. Later on, we will have some votes in which I will ask the administrators not to vote because only the faculty council members per se can vote, and we will make sure later on that alternates and full-time members are not voted. So we're meeting once again, just to review, according to the governor's executive order, allowing remote meetings provided that they are both live streamed, which this meeting is being live streamed over YouTube right now, and it is being recorded, and as usual, all votes are non-anonymous, and that way we'll be able to go through the list. Since I cannot verify that no one who should have voted didn't vote, any vote we take will have to be finalized. I assume nobody will, but we will have to finalize it once we have a chance to go through all the polls at the end of later after the meeting. Okay. So roll call is being taken as we speak. Please, I see everyone's vote. In an interesting matter, the chair, the host of this meeting, cannot vote. For some reason, Zoom does not allow the host to meet, and we actually asked the Zoom management all the way up to Zoom to please change it, and they said no. So if I have to vote to break a tie, I'll have to vote orally, and it'll be recorded by the secretary. Okay, the first thing on the agenda is the minutes of September 15th. Professor Nadell, do you have any changes to make to the minutes that have been?
No, there are no changes to the minutes. Please look at the one that was sent out after the packet. My apologies for that change.
Does anyone have any comments or discussion on the minutes as they were sent to you? Hearing none, I assume that everyone will vote yes on this unless I hear someone objecting. Is there anyone objecting to the minutes? Hearing none, we will assume the minutes have been approved unanimously. The first thing the steering committee is going to do is to read an unfortunate memory of Professor Emerita Helen Lax Ginsburg from economics, who passed away. Helen made important contributions to the achievement of the fundamental right to living wage work for all. He epitomized the scholar activist, writing and speaking nationwide on behalf of the second attempt by Congress in the 1970s to enact full employment, and holding onto the dream after the result of that advocacy, the Humphrey Hawkins Full Employment and Balanced Growth Act of 1978, failed to achieve either of these goals. Helen's scholarship, particularly her study of the successful sustained full employment policy in Sweden and analysis of efforts to achieve full employment in the United States, was an important influence on the thinking of those of us who worked with her for many years on behalf of Jobs for All. Helen did much to sustain thinking and study of full employment as a co-chair for 21 years at Columbia University Seminar for Full Employment. I am going to send the rest of this minute along with the minutes. We extend our condolences to her husband for many years, Nathan Ginsburg, and to her brother, sister-in-law, and niece, Sherman, Lorraine, and Eileen Lax, and put together by Professor Klein of the Economics Department. I now ask for a brief moment of silence in her memory. Thank you very much. We now move to completing an election of 8 individuals from which the president will select 2 members and 2 alternates for the Brooklyn College Association Board. You may recall that we had asked for nominations approximately a month and a half, 2 months ago. We received many nominations, but of those nominations, only 11 individuals agreed to serve if elected. Therefore, we are going, and because Zoom can't handle 11, but can only handle up to 10 by means of a poll, we will have to have the election online as we've done in the past. So, Andre P., are you on?
Yes, I'm on. I have just posted instructions in the chat.
Okay, so if everyone will take a moment, and this is, of course, only the faculty members who are permitted to vote, only you will find your name. Please go to the link that you find in the chat, and you should be able to log in.
Yeah. So there are 2 options. You can click on the link and access the ballot directly, or if you are on Zoom on one device and vote on another device, then just log into BC Web Central, go to shortcuts menu on the left, and from there access the ballot.
And we will give everybody a few minutes to do this. Please select up to 8 candidates. Has everybody completed voting? We can leave this open, Andre, people to vote as they get around to it, and we can move on. And I'm not sure if you can give us the results later on, but in any event, at some point we will submit the 8 messages to the president, from which she will choose. Okay. Okay. So we're going to move on. If you're having trouble voting, please talk to Andre privately on the chat and see what he could do. Okay. The next thing is that I'm going to announce that for purposes of the BC Auxiliary Enterprises Corporation for the 2020-2022 term, the president has selected Professors Eleanor Miel and Naomi Schiller to represent the faculty and serve on the board. Thank you for willing to serve and congratulations. We also wish to announce those representatives to the UFS, University Faculty Senate, representing the full-time faculty elected to a 3-year term ending May 2023 is Professors Doug Cohen, Professors Madrobia Okemi, Anjana Saxena, and Chia-Ju Chang. I apologize for mispronouncing everyone's name. Elected for a 1-year term as alternate senators ending in May 2021 is Professor Marish Schwartzstein, Miles Bassell, and John Paul. So thank you all who are willing to serve for that. Okay, give me a second here. Okay. Now, at the request of many, many members of Faculty Council, the steering committee wishes to express its concern and dismay at the lack of an active stated meeting this semester. I wish to educate everyone for a moment, and I'm going to share with you, bear with me for one moment, a document which you may not have seen previously. Okay, it is called the Bylaws of the Faculty of Brooklyn College. As many of you know, there are many governance bodies on campus: the Faculty Council, the Policy Council, the college, the Committee on Administrative Policy, the CAP. Departments have their role. There's also something called the faculty. I may have mentioned this in the past. The faculty, which is really capital THE, like the Bronx, consists of all full-time members of the faculty. And it is this body, the faculty, that is technically responsible for all curriculum decisions and other issues that involve the faculty on campus. Now, of course, it is realized that a large body such as this can very rarely get a quorum and very difficult to have them do any business. And so it is the Faculty Council that takes their place. However, the faculty as a whole may overturn any decision of Faculty Council. To that end, there is a requirement of meetings. And at that meeting, as you've been at the past, a committee on review reviews the minutes of Faculty Council and reports to the rest of the faculty whether or not they are in order. And at that meeting, should there be a quorum, there can actually be motions made, live motions made, and in fact, Faculty Council can be overturned. I believe in my history, 30 years of Faculty Council, this has happened only once, but other matters of serious import have happened at the stated meeting, including when there was a quorum, the faculty turning down pathways as a group. So it is an important body. Now, these meetings in Article 2, Section 1, which you see before you, says that the faculty shall meet at least once a semester on the call of the president or upon written petition to the president signed by at least 10% of the voting members of the faculty, or upon the request of the standing committee on review of the faculty. You will note that neither the steering committee nor faculty council itself can call for such a meeting, but there are other bodies that can do so. Steering committee, on behalf of the many faculty members who've written us over the last few days, express their concern that this meeting is not occurring. We leave it to you to take whatever action you feel is appropriate. And I believe that perhaps under new business, we may hear more from members of faculty council who wish to speak on this issue. Okay, that's the end of steering. Now, I am told that Sharona sent me a new list. You sent me two of them. I'm not sure now which one to use. One says correct and one just says PDF. Okay, I'm going to assume that that one is the one. Let me open it and turn the floor over to Sharona and share this with you. This is I'm skipping. No, I'm not. Committee on Committees, Professor Levy, please, and let me share this with everyone. Sharona, you're on. I assume everyone can see this. Sharona, you're muted. Sharona, can you talk? I think we have technical difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Please take over.
Okay. So, sorry. So we have fulfilled 3 more seats. So the committees, except for one committee now, are filled. So we need you to vote. So on college integrity, George Cunningham agreed to step forward and serve. And then on Gen Ed, which is further down, if you can scroll, did you? There you go. Completing 2 more people, which is great. Jean-Edi St. Paul of sociology and Daniel Williams of biology willing to serve. That only leaves chair, an important position. So I'm calling on my colleagues here to, if someone would volunteer or go out and look and see if you can find someone, chair of student records, which of course is a very important committee.
Yes, without them, we can't graduate students. So this is very important. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Please unmute yourself and speak up. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Someone wants me, I'm sorry, I just see this now, to zoom in. Let me zoom in. So I'm not watching the chat, so folks, if you want to speak, please just open your mic and talk. Okay, let me go from the top again. Okay, so there's 1 vacancy I see here. Are there any nominations from the floor? Again, for the 3rd time. Hearing none, I will do. Is there anyone objecting to the slate? Hearing none, I will direct the secretary to cast a single vote for the slate, and the committee of committees slate here is approved. Please thank your committee for a very difficult and important role to play. Just while we're on committees, I believe that most chairs of committee on committees have already received their student members. And if you have not, student members, please contact the office and let us know. Student members should be invited to attend, and meetings should be made at points when they can attend. While they do not count for a quorum, they have full vote equal to all faculty members, and they play an important role. And while I'm on this, let me remind everyone once again that every department's undergraduate curriculum committee is required to have a student member. If you don't have a student member, technically any curriculum submission you make towards the faculty council committee is invalid. So please do this. I do not want to ask Tim Shortell to send back curriculum proposals because they are not created with the students who are required to be on your committee. Please, please do so. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, moving along, we now move to the liaison with the University Faculty Senate. Professor Cohen, are you here?
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
I appreciate if you would make your report. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, all I can say is the last meeting, which was September 22nd, was a little bit somber. A great deal of uncertainty. Of course, there was no budget from Cuny, and understanding that there will be budget cuts, but no idea where those budget cuts will be, and most important, how much they will be. They anticipated that Cuny might have something of a budget in their meeting this month, and apparently that did happen, although without a state budget, I suppose it's not a permanent budget. They remarked that the colleges were being funded at about 80%, and since payroll, month to month at 80%, since payroll is about 87% of the budget, that can't be sustained. I guess there was some concern about class sizes with the switch to all distance learning and the increases, and I guess for us as working college, we need to look at that, because pedagogically online classes should have fewer students, and of course we've increased in order to deal with the current situation. We did get a report about general Cuny enrollment. You probably have more current information, but they said overall it was about down 4%. The four-year colleges seem to be up about 1.1%, and I think Brooklyn College is probably consistent with that. The other concern, and this was more speculation from the leadership at University Faculty Senate, was a push by Cuny and the chancellor to make our programs permanently distance learning programs. And after the pandemic, once we returned to in-person classes, and again, that seemed to be, there's no direct evidence, there wasn't enough to go on at that point, but different colleges did discuss how provost had contacted them, and one college even said that they were not even requested, they were just told they need to make all of their programs distance learning as well after this pandemic. Not sure if that's true or not, but at least that was one observation. And that's about it. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Hearing none, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
We now move to degree list 2021-3, which has been posted on Blackboard. And are there any comments? Who is here from the committee on review? I believe nobody is here from the committee on review, but it has been reported to me that these have been reviewed and are all in order. Does anyone want to remove someone for cause from this list? Hearing none. Okay. Resolve, the registrar certifies that all students on this list have met all the requirements for graduation and were eligible for their respective degrees as of the dates indicated. Resolved that the Faculty Council of Brooklyn College recommend that the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York grant to the students named below or on the list the degrees indicated. This is list number 2001-3. I am launching a poll. Please, only authorized people vote. Administrators, please do, and alternates who are not here representing the primary should not vote. I'm going to assume that the fact that 86 people voted, we will of course go through the list later on, or 87 now, that we have, and everyone voted yes, with 4 people abstaining and 84 people voting yes, that this will pass subject to checking the list. Is anybody having trouble getting to the poll? Okay, so I will end polling. Thank you. We now move to report of standing committees. The first one is the curriculum document 407, Professor Shortell. I am going to post the revised document that you sent around to everyone recently and share it with you all. Give me a moment. Professor Shortell, you can start talking. Unmute yourself.
Thank you. Okay.
And I'm going to make this bigger so that everybody can see this.
Thank you. So, you know, as we're all getting used to, it's feels like everything we do is harder now that we're online only. So I appreciate your patience as we're trying to get the curriculum committee up and operating again. So this is the first document with new material in it. If you are thinking about curriculum changes for next year's bulletin, we have November and December meetings to do that work. So please try to get material to the committee as quickly as you can so that we can get that taken care of. Last year, you may recall, you know, we had quite a large document at the end of the year, and so it's a little bit harder on the committee if we're trying to do everything at the very last minute. In this document, I want to call your attention to the appendices and also the addendum. I apologize for omitting to include a course that the committee approved, a cross-listed course that the committee approved in the first version that we sent out. But as you may recall, at the end of last year, Faculty Council approved emergency authority for the curriculum committees, and with the idea that you know, that the committee could take actions during the summer, and that those would be temporary, and that for those to become permanent, those materials would have to be reintroduced in the regular process. So I wanted to include an appendix to let you all know what actions we took, just so you're aware of that. So there's nothing that we are required to do now, but you had a chance to look at the document, so you can see what we did. And we also did some additional editorial changes, basically trying to clean up some mistakes that we had noticed in the document. So those are listed there as well. I want to remind the departments that want to make permanent those changes that were acted on as our emergency powers need to submit those documents so that we can include them in a regular document. And in fact, one of the proposals in this document 407 is such a document. And you're seeing now the new course proposal. That's the committee had actually received this last year, and didn't have a chance to act on it. And it's cross-listed, so it's the same course in Pearls and bilingual education. And so that proposal, I'll clean up the document and move that to section A4 for the version. Several of you have asked about where there's some missing curriculum documents on the Blackboard site, and I apologize for that. I have them, I just need to upload them. So I'll try to do that this week. So we'll have a full archive there. I don't know if it makes sense to go section by section to review, since we're in a more awkward format here, but let me just ask if there are any questions on the material included in CD 407.
I have a question or a comment.
Okay.
Hi. Page 9, I just 2 corrections. The department's name is Puerto Rican and Latino Studies. It has Latin American Studies there several times. So just to correct that.
Okay.
And the course PRLS 3315 was replaced by 3315W. So that no longer exists. So that should be crossed out. Pearls 3315.
Okay, 3315 is now 3315W.
Right, so the W is there, but you have to cross out the 3315. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you, that's it, thanks.
Okay.
Are there any other questions, Professor Chotel? Tim, do you want to say anything before I open up the poll for this?
No, if there are no questions, I think the committee obviously recommends to faculty council that we approve this document.
Okay, I'm launching the poll for curriculum document 407. Again, only people who are authorized to vote should vote. '88, '89, '90. Okay, so from without checking, it appears that 87 voted yes and 3 voted abstain. We'll of course need 90 now voted. We will need, of course, to verify the votes, but it appears that this document has passed. Professor Chotel, do you have anything else that you want to let us know?
Yeah, I think just a quick reminder, if you want to have us consider documents for CD 408 for November, we need to please submit them to Blackboard by the end of this week.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank your committee, please, for a lot of work, which everyone realizes is critical. We now move to Committee on Graduate Curriculum, Professor Rodman, Curriculum Document 258, which I will share on the screen with you. And Professor Rodman, please unmute yourself, and the floor is yours.
Okay. I can't see myself, but I assume, oh, there I am. So I'm new. I'm the new kid on the block. In fact, I just borrowed a link to get into this meeting 5 minutes ago, or at 3:10 anyway. And I had to borrow it from my department chair because nobody sent me one. But this is our document, I suppose, for October. Are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions on this document?
Yeah, let me just go on the table of contents so everybody can see. And unless there are questions, we won't have to scroll through the whole thing. So there Department of Psychology, new courses in English, changes in existing courses in psychology. And that's it.
Okay, so we had a question, the committee had a question that they wanted to bring up to faculty council rather than trying to track this down. Because Section A for new courses, Department of English, the Writers Workshop and Translation was presented to faculty council previously. Apparently, it was recommended that they get a clearance from Modern Languages. That clearance wasn't obtained and they resubmitted it, and we just want to know why. We want to hear from Modern Languages if it's okay for them not to provide a clearance for this.
George, the procedure is not to do what you're doing. The procedure is that if they wish to, if anyone wishes to object to it, they can object. Okay, everyone had it. Your committee has obviously realized that there was an objection, and nevertheless, it was your committee decided to resubmit it. So we're going to vote on the document as it is, unless someone from the floor further objects to this document, in which case we will then have a discussion. So does anyone object to what is in this document?
There is already objection in the chat.
Well, that does not count. If you object, you have to get online and talk. The chat is not part of our record. I'm sorry. I do not hear any objections.
Yeah, sorry. How are you doing, Idilia?
Who's talking?
Professor Alonso from Modern Languages.
Okay, please, go ahead.
Well, as you know, I just arrived to this position and I found this, course that was discussed on a meeting. And so far, we didn't change the vote. And what I've received from the previous chairperson is that we should have a meeting with the English department to discuss some issues that have to do with the content of the description that has been provided by the committee. So I believe that as a chairperson of the Modern Language Department, since there were no changes made to this, we have to maintain the objection.
Okay. Do you at this point make a motion to strike this from this document?
Sure.
Is there a second to that motion?
I will second that motion. I believe that the department has a right to be consulted at the very least.
Okay, I believe the department was consulted and objected.
Yes.
I think the point of discussion here, they were consulted, they object. The committee decided nevertheless to bring it to council, which is their right. And now we have a motion to strike this. Tim, would you like to speak? You just speak.
Yes, I would like to speak to the motion, if I may. I've mentioned this before, so I apologize if you feel like I'm repeating myself. But I think we need to think about the curriculum as belonging to the college. You know, the faculty share this responsibility. And so, you know, we've always, the curriculum committees have always tried to facilitate, you know, a discussion among relevant departments where there is an objection, as there is in this case. And so I think it's fair, you know, to ask the departments to try to work out whatever the objections are, and then bring the new document, you know, the new proposal, either this version or some modified version of it. But I also want to suggest that I think that over the years, there's a norm that has, or an expectation that's developed that departments, you know, ought to be able to veto other departments' courses. And I don't think that that's a good way to approach it. I think we ought to, in the spirit of collegiality, try to work out these things as we can. But short of this course being a copy of a course that's on the books, I don't think that there's actually grounds for rejecting it. I think we ought to try to give the departments an opportunity to work it out. And so I'm supportive of the motion to strike it from this document, possibly bringing it back later. But I also want to encourage us to think about this not as departments having the ability to veto other courses, courses in other departments because they think that that subject matter belongs to their department and not the other department.
Okay.
Okay. Ellen, I think I saw your hand up. Ellen, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'd like to have a chance to explain the contention and the chronology, if I may. We did consult after it was, I originally told the previous chair that we were going to create this course. James Davis, who is the graduate deputy, forgot when the course was submitted to ask for clearance, and the previous chair objected on the floor of council last spring, and that is why the course was struck or stricken. I don't know which. In any case, we consulted not only once, but many times with the department. The Department of Modern Languages and Literature believes that it is the only department that can teach translation. I pointed out that there is a course, probably not active at the moment, but in existence in the theater department's courses that includes the word translation. I pointed out that the Department of Modern Languages and Literature has in its courses one that is called linguistics, which would be, if that were the rule, that only the department that thinks it can teach a skill or a subject can do so, is in violation of its own principles, since there is a linguistics program. And the members of it happen to be in my department. In any case, we believe that this is a course that is not going to in any way incapacitate the curriculum of the Modern Languages program. It does not have at the moment a graduate course in literary translation, and our course is expressly and limited to the MFA students in our department. We are not going to be, what is that word? Cannibalizing students who might take the translation, the non-existent translation course in modern languages. It is a course that was requested by our students, and the reason we hired the person we did is that she happens to be not only a poet, but an expert in literary translation and a translator. And we request council to consider that skills are not owned by departments, and that this course is one that ought to be allowed to go through.
Anyone else who wishes to comment on this, on the motion only? Go ahead.
Yeah, may I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Ellen. I agree with the principles of the discussion, but what I'm trying to put here is that I just got this discussion a month ago when I got into the position. And so far, although we have a meeting of the curriculum discussing this, we didn't really have an agreement. And that's why I request for some time for the discussion. No, we are not questioning the idea that the curriculum owes to the whole faculty, but at some point that may be kind of conflict of interest. And that's what we're trying to somehow to draw. What is the line that what is the overlapping that is coming here. And we are not thinking about a particular person teaching the class this semester. We are thinking in terms of the development of the modern language curriculum in the future, particularly in an area that is our graduate program that is right now in a critical situation. So because of that, I believe that we should, or I should, because I'm the new person here, request for some time and to meet with our curriculum committee again, and to meet with the English department. And it's completely true that James Davis sent me an email, and we did have a kind of conversation that was interrupted in last month. But at this point, since I didn't have the word from my curriculum committee, I really can't have the conversation with him so far. That's my objection.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to comment on this matter? Hearing none, I'm going to launch a vote simply on the motion to delete, not on the entire document, simply on the motion to delete. If you vote yes, then page 12 will be deleted from the document, and then we'll proceed to vote on the document. If you vote no, the document stays as is, and of course, if you abstain, you abstain. Is there any questions about the procedure? Only on the motion. Please vote. The three numbers are still. Anybody else? So at this point, 42 people said yes, delete it. 37 people say no, and 14 abstain. Now, subject again to showing that only appropriate people voted, it appears that the yes have it. This requires only a simple majority, okay, because it's not a final motion, and therefore the motion, page 12, is struck from this document, and we now move to the document itself. Any further discussion on the document itself? Professor Rodman, do you have anything further you want to say about this document?
No, we just had some minor stylistic kind of changes, but I guess we don't have to take
They're editorial changes. That's between you and when you submit this to Leah to work it out.
Okay.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I'm now launching a poll. Yes, no, or abstain for the entire curriculum document 258 minus page 12, without page 12. Please vote. Everybody seems to have voted. Not yet. A few more people are still voting. Okay. 81 people voted yes. 6 people voted no. 5 people abstained. Therefore, again, subject to verifying the votes. Okay, the curriculum document 258 has passed. Thank you. Professor Rodman, do you have any other announcements you would like to make?
No, I think Tim pretty much covered the procedure. So I think we're good.
Excellent. I thank you very much. Please thank your committee. Okay, and certainly as being a new chair in this role, you came right along and did the right thing. Thank you. Okay, we now have a series of annual reports. Generally, we ask the chair if the chair has any further comments, and then we ask the floor. Now, one of these reports comes with a resolution. I'll deal with that in a moment. So first, Committee on Campus Planning Annual Report. Professor Morelli, do you have anything you'd like? I assume everyone has read it. Everyone does their homework. Professor Morelli, do you have anything you want to add to your?
I have nothing to add, except thank you, Alan, and your office.
Does anybody have any questions for the committee?
I have a question.
Yeah, Ken.
Just to point out how much work Ryan Morelli put into this report and how much work he did in the prior year. It's extraordinary. The question I have is under the heading Executive Director for Facilities Planning and Engineering.
Do you want me to put it up?
I can read it, but yeah, sure, go for it.
Well, it'll take me a minute to find it, but I'll find it. Give me a minute. Committee on Campus Planning. Give me 1 second and I'll be glad to put it up. Share it. Okay, now where do you want me to go?
Go to that section called Executive Director for Facilities Planning and Engineering.
Want to give me a clue where that might be?
Okay, hang on, be right with you. It's under, I had it queued up on my page.
Here it is, I got it. Okay. Executive Director, Facilities Planning and Engineering.
Yeah, and if you might, okay, good. So the section that I'm particularly interested in is where Ryan discusses how the position was meant to replace the position of Assistant VP of Facilities Planning, and some details there. And then going into the middle of the paragraph, as a result, SVP is taking on, that is Alan Gilbert, is taking on this added responsibility, which is far less than ideal and rife with challenges. First, he has many other extremely important responsibilities, etc., requiring his full attention. Planning and engineering requires full attention. SVP Gilbert does not have the technical expertise someone in the position needs. So COVID-based reentry has further illustrated the challenges of not having someone in this position.
It's a big problem. Yeah, like this is a position that absolutely needs to be filled.
So I guess in the judgment of campus planning, I mean, can we, safely even begin to consider reopening this campus in light of this situation that you've clearly identified? And given, what we've heard from CLTs about the safety of the campus and, questions about ventilation to, with respect to potential exposure to COVID, I mean, can we even begin to consider what it would take to get back on campus unless this is taken care of? That's my question.
Yeah, no, that's a loaded question. So I think you hit on something that certainly concerns me as well. Alan is doing two enormous jobs at the same time right now, and he's certainly giving it his attention. He made what I think was at the time the choice that I think was the most logical in terms of turning down, like, we had this position, but it was such an important position. He didn't want to make a permanent hire without bringing the executive director in, because this all happened during COVID. And so he made the decision that I'm not going to make this hire, right, unless I can meet the person, unless, especially from a standpoint of communication, he wants the person to meet with the facilities, he wants them to meet with faculty. This is a super important position. That, I have to choose my language carefully here, but that was, I think, that was the right decision, and it's unfortunately put us in a situation where now we're struggling to get that permanent position again. And so we are getting an interim, and the interim, there is a continuing search for at least an interim position. He tried to get the full one, but Cuny turned him down. But we are going to be getting an interim person. So to answer your question, I mean, I've seen the amount of work through serving on the reentry board that the provost and the president and Alan have done. And I think, as I also stated in this, I think it's highly commendable. I don't think it's an issue of them being able to get the work done, Ken. I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm concerned about Alan's health. Right? That's my big concern right now, because he is,
Agreed.
And he can tell you a little bit more about the details about it, but this is a hire that we need to make, and we are bringing an interim person to help him. But you're right. I mean, it is We're at far lower capacity right now, right, in terms of the people that are on here. But obviously this is something that, you know, creates a situation where a lot of planning and ahead, and this is something that Alan's often said, we have to, you know, maybe things can't be turned around as quickly because it takes a lot more planning and a lot more time. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's good. But we are meeting with a couple of the candidates, and I don't know exactly the turnaround, but hopefully one of them is gets in here and gives them a hand, because you are 100% correct. This is an important position, and we need it. Alan can't do all of this.
Thank you, Professor Morelli. Is there any other questions for Professor Morelli? While you're thinking about whether you have any other questions, I want to point out, just for the record, what's on the chat is not part of the record of this meeting. It will not be reported on, it is not stored, and it is not saved by law. So if you're saying things that you want us to record and to be part of the official record, please speak up. Having said that, please thank your committee. I echo the fact that this has been a tremendous amount of work for you and your committee. And I certainly echo the fact that Alan Gilbert is to be commended for working way beyond what can be expected from a normal human being. Or any conclusions that you may have from that.
Agreed.
So the Faculty Council accepts your report, and we ask that you thank your committee on our behalf for all the work that they've done. Thank you very much. Okay, we now move to the Committee on Graduate Admissions and Standards. Professor Mallory, we have your report. Do you have any additions to your report?
Well, I wanted to thank the members of the committee, Jennifer Ball, Hui Chen, Kathleen Axon, and Douglas Gears, and also a special thanks to Melissa Chan, Julie Hegner, and Patrick Kavanaugh for all their assistance. But I have nothing else to add to the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the floor for the committee? Hearing none, Faculty Council gratefully accepts your report. Please thank your committee on our behalf. We now move to the Committee on Research. Unfortunately, Professor Martin, who was going to present it, is now in the hospital. She's unable to be here today. So I am going to, I guess, present it. I know nothing at all. I mean, I do know, but I mean, I cannot answer your questions. But of most importance is that there is a resolution here. And so I want to post the resolution, which will require a vote. So if you'll give me 1 minute, I will move to that section. Let me share the screen, share, make it a little bit larger. Okay, I trust you can see it. The part that we will be voting on is the resolution. Let me read it. Be it resolved that we urge that the provost initiates the creation of a subcommittee, including members from property management, IT, and the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs, to coordinate the necessary actions to build this research database that may serve Brooklyn College faculty with a central database of research resources, specified software, instruments, research space, etc., that could be shared by various program departments. The point is, there is a large campus, many faculty members who may have various pieces of equipment that others don't know about and may wish to share, so that they are asking for the creation of a database where people can go look up to see if someone has this. Secondly, be it also resolved that we urge that the provost, IT, and the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs initiate the creation of this research matching website where faculty members may post their current research projects and students may list their research interests. Again, I think the sense of this is obvious. Please note that these are resolutions that urge the provost and the administration. We have no power to compel them, but I am told by the administration that they take what we say very seriously, and that's why it is nice to see a resolution in a report because these are actually action items. Does anyone have any? Please don't ask questions to me about the document itself, but if you have questions about the resolutions or comments, please speak up. Hearing none, I'm going to launch.
Sorry, could I just add a point? Maybe if we could at this point ask if the provost is at the meeting for a response. I would, taking your point that we can't compel them, I still would recommend to us and to our committees that we use a somewhat stronger language when we make resolutions, that we're directing the provost to do this, understanding that we can't compel the administration, but that's a part of our responsibility as the faculty. So I would have used a stronger verb here. I'm not suggesting a change to the motion, but I would like to hear from the provost about the administration's response.
Provost, are you on, and do you wish to speak? Could someone check to see if the provost is on?
The provost is in a Middle States site visit.
Okay.
Yesterday and today, so she is not on this call.
Thank you.
Our apologies.
No problem. So the provost is not here to respond to you, Tim.
I certainly take this resolution, though, Tim, as a constructive suggestion that is entirely appropriate. And I imagine, I can't speak for the provost, but I appreciate it. And as you just said, take it very seriously. And it seems like a constructive suggestion to help faculty where it's needed.
Are there any other comments?
Yeah, you did, Joe?
Yes. Who's speaking?
Ken Esty.
Yes.
Following up on Tim's point, it would seem also in the future that a resolution that asks specifically that the office's provost IT, report back to the faculty council on the progress with respect to their deliberation.
Okay. In the future, that might be, this is not what the resolution says, unless you want to go through an amendment to this, and then we have to have another vote. But I think we get the sense that we would like, in fact, what we should do is the committee, I'm sure, the current committee, will ask that question in a month from now or in 2 months from now. But it's up to you what you want to do. Hearing none, we're going to move to a vote on the resolution. Okay, so please vote. Yes, you support the resolution. No, you're opposed to the resolution, and abstain, you abstain. Someone has their mic on who shouldn't. Please turn your mic off. Making noise. Andre, please mute everybody. So 90 people voted yes, 0 said no, and 0 abstained. So that, again, subject to checking the vote, the motion carries and the resolution passes. Thank you very much. Okay. We now move to old business. We have no old business as far as I'm aware. New business. I do have some individuals who asked to speak under new business. If they still want to speak, please do so.
Thank you, Udija. I wanted to ask, I believe James Davis is at this meeting. Since we didn't have an opportunity at the stated meeting to get our semester report from the PSC chapter, I'd like to invite James to give us that report now.
And James, are you here?
I'm here.
You may present your report.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'll try to keep it brief. Good afternoon, everyone. From remarks from the PSC, the union, as you know, is focused on preserving jobs right now and keeping people safe and healthy. The impact of the pandemic has obviously been enormous, and it's hard to know when things will change or what awaits us. The impact of the recession is also enormous, and even though it's hit unevenly across different job titles at the college, no one has escaped unscathed, and no one will truly be safe as long as the precarious funding of Cuny remains unaddressed. So the job of a labor union is obviously to safeguard the contract and to provide us with some collective agency amidst all the uncertainty. We may not know what lies ahead, but it depends in part on what we do now, how we exert ourselves to shape the outcomes. So we need to vote and encourage our students to vote, but we also need to advocate with the university administration, and we need to name the racist dimension of our austerity conditions. We all see plainly the educational injustice of the dismantling of places like Brooklyn College, historic institutions, anchor institutions in their communities. And we also see the racial injustice. The Board of Trustees still has not approved a budget for this academic year, as you heard from Professor Cohen in his report from the UFS, and it's engaged instead in monthly allocations to the campuses, but these allocations are 20% lower than last year's monthly average. So the college's budget is being cut in effect, if not in name, and everyone involved is seeking plausible deniability. The college's hands are tied, we are told, by Cuny. Cuny's hands are tied, we are told, by the state. The state's hands are tied, in turn, by a collapsing economy and partisan gridlock in Washington. The chancellor awaits clarity about additional federal stimulus funds for New York, which is like awaiting clarity at the bottom of a mud puddle. How do we break this intransigence? 3 ways. 1, we organize against increased class size. Increased class size, particularly in an online environment, is effectively a work speed up. We are doing more for less, and despite our resourcefulness, which is considerable, we are risking academic quality for students. By organizing against increased class size, we also resist the layoffs of our adjunct colleagues. And by organizing against increased class size, we prepare for other struggles ahead, whether that be threats to delay our salary increases, which, by the way, are supposed to be coming next month, or for retrenchment or furloughs or things like that that could be in store. 2, we should insist that the college and university leaders advocate publicly for increased funding, not acquiesce to the inevitability of cuts. Yes, things are tough all over, and yes, other colleges are also being hit hard and even laying off employees. But austerity in New York is a manufactured condition. There is nothing inevitable about it. Just ask the state's 118 billionaires. Their net worth has ballooned while the families served by Brooklyn College struggle to pay rent and put food on the table. During the retrenchment of the 1970s, some Cuny administrators objected and even resigned rather than implement the cuts that the state demanded. Today, we should insist administrators break their code of silence on this matter. One way to hold our administration accountable is to sign the new petition created by the BC Anti-Racist Coalition. The petition demands that an external consultant be brought in to facilitate the difficult but necessary process of working towards equity and inclusion. Third, and finally, we have to care for one another. That begins by ensuring that no one is brought into an unsafe workplace. And I want to thank the faculty and staff who have joined the Campus Reentry Review Board that Carrie Sadovnik directs. That's Kelly Spivey in the film department, Ryan Morelli, who we just heard from in the chemistry department, and Larry Boscott in the admissions office. Their vigilance is helping to keep us all safe and healthy. Caring for one another also extends as well into supporting our transition into remote teaching. And I want to thank all the department chairs for their forbearance and their leadership, and our colleagues in ITS and in the library, especially the Center for Teaching and Learning led by Maddie Fox and Donna Granville. By continuing to care for one another in these ways, by demanding that our administrators speak out publicly against the racist undermining of our institution, and by organizing around unconscionable class size pressures, we can practice solidarity and we can come through 2020 stronger and better prepared for challenges ahead. On behalf of the chapter executive committee, we look forward to working with you. And thanks again for the opportunity to share the remarks from the chapter.
Thank you very much, Professor Davis. Are there any other new business items? Hearing none.
If I may.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Go ahead, Michael. Grayson?
I'd like to return to this question of the translation course. I believe the translation is certainly very important. As a young adult working in Fortune 500 companies, I saw what could happen where meetings were all conducted in English, but people's native languages were other than English. I'm not going to go into detail here. I do ask that the two departments have a joint meeting, not just of the chairs, not just of the deputy chairs, but the faculty themselves. If they can reach an agreement, wonderful. If not, then prepare some sort of neutral document. What was brought up, what's in favor, what's not in favor, and prepare that neutral document for the entire faculty council if they cannot agree.
Mr. Grayson, that's an excellent suggestion. I'm sure the two department chairs have heard it, and chair of the graduate curriculum committee has heard it, and they will decide what to do if they decide to act on it. It's certainly a good suggestion. Is there any other new business?
Yes, I have a point.
Yes.
So I know Michelle is here, and I wonder if she would speak to why we have this case of the incredibly disappearing president. It seems to me that it's important that we have an outward-facing president. I know that this is a stressful time. There's a lot of work to do inward-facing on managing the college environment. At the same time, to cancel the stated meeting in terms of an active interactive forum, to go off the record after a faculty council meeting so that the remarks won't be recorded, so that outsiders can't see what's going on, I think is a mistake and abnormal in terms of the way presidents have always dealt with faculty and students on the record and publicly. So I would like Michelle to state what her reasons are for changes, extraordinary changes, and it seems to me unnecessary changes in how she deals with faculty and students regarding, in particular, these meetings of faculty council and the stated meeting upcoming.
Sure thing, Yadidja. Am I recognized to speak?
Most certainly are.
Thank you. You know, I want to apologize up front around the stated meeting and the very late notice that was sent out about the cancellation of the stated meeting on Tuesday morning. I actually didn't realize it was on anyone's calendar. Of course it's on people's calendar because it was slated on the administrative calendar many, many months ago. But I didn't realize that, and I asked my assistants not to put it on because we couldn't meet in person, and there were some logistical challenges with meeting as a full body online. I understand that the bylaws of Brooklyn College, of the Brooklyn College faculty, you might have noticed that they were promulgated in October of 1977, suggest that there will be a stated meeting each semester, but we've never really followed those bylaws in practice. Which require, among other things, a roll call of all faculty at Brooklyn College and also communication from a representative of the Board of Higher Education. Plus, last semester, I issued an online presentation and didn't hear any objections, so I thought that it would not be of concern. Certainly understand that it is of concern, though, now. That's been fully expressed to me, and I appreciate it. In any case, I was actually notified by Ellen Tremper the morning of the stated meeting that it was on folks' calendar. despite the fact that my office didn't publicize it. And, so we quickly consulted, the office quickly consulted with Namalunda Florence, who's secretary of the stated faculty, to cancel the meeting in lieu of an online presentation. She agreed, and we got out the notice as soon as possible. It was really late though, and I understand that people were looking forward to the meeting. It's never been a meeting in which we've interacted. There's been a presentation by James Davis. There's been the review committee has made a presentation which has lasted very briefly, saying that the notes of the faculty council are in order. And then I've given exactly the kind of presentation that I circulated online. In any case, I realize that some people were looking forward to it, and I apologize for the late announcement that went out. I certainly will try to overcome some logistical challenges with the stated meeting, and we'll try to pledge to work on those and have a stated meeting in person in the spring, which is already on the calendar. And probably in many of your calendars. So that's what I'll say about the stated meeting. In terms of, I'm not hiding out, I'm here. Nice to see everyone here. Would like to discuss some sensitive matters of the budget in an offline format. These are issues that are changing on a daily basis. You can ask Alan about that. And we'd rather not have them recorded for the future, as they are very much in flux. So these are sensitive issues. Would like to have them in a non-online format. I hope that helps.
Is there any other new business? Before we adjourn, I want to just thank the two Andres for running this meeting behind the scenes and making it so successful. I want to thank all the members of council for following the rules and sitting there muted for such a long time, which is nice to see. And I wish you all well. I sincerely hope that by next month, we can all see each other in person, although I doubt that is going to happen. So until next month, stay safe, stay healthy. And that means more than just physical. Okay, let's consider each other. Have a wonderful evening. Have a good night. Bye.
Okay, the recording is stopping now.
Thank you.